when he was saying that we have a special guest with us. Uh, but we have a sister. Well, let me start off by saying it like this. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan asked members of the Nation of Islam to begin to take the truth that we've been given to the internet. And after requesting such, we have seen many believers do just that. Today, we're happy to have as a guest one of the sisters who has a very strong presence on Twitter and even on Instagram, and which is now known as Twitter is now known as X, which is interesting whole discussion itself. And her name is Sister Tamorah, if I'm pronouncing that right, Sharif Muhammad. She is the lead organizer of an online discussion group known as the Cxllective, which I was blessed to be a part of. I believe it was last week, and I really enjoyed the opportunity and all of those who work with her to organize that effort. We were blessed to get on to talk about a very key subject, which is Master Farad Muhammad. And I pray that what I was blessed to share, that people found it to be beneficial and helpful, and it helped to deepen their understanding and faith in Master Farad Muhammad. So we're going to get right to our actual interview, and let me bring on our sister. One second, let me bring on our sister to the stage. Assalamu alaikum, dear sister.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you, sir?
I'm fine by Allah's grace. And once again, thank you for accepting the invitation to be a guest on this show. I have a testimony. I will say that it's been a long time in the making, but everything takes place
Yes, sir.
at the right time. So one of the things that I love about this show is that I get the opportunity to personally to hear people's testimony about how they came into the Nation of Islam, and able to provide our audience with an opportunity to also hear how our guests came into the teaching. So I would like to first begin with that question. Can you share with us how you first became aware of the teachings of the Most High Elijah Muhammad and ended up being a member of the Nation of Islam?
That is a great question, sir. But let me begin in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger. I greet those who are watching in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. First, Brother Willie, I want to thank you for inviting me to this prestigious show. I have heard great things, but I want to make a correction before I answer that question. I of myself in the collective is, not the top lead organizer, but all of us are. So we come together collectively and we invite others to interview on my platform and on the collective's platform. So I want to make that correction. But going into your question on how I came into the Nation of Islam, I was a young 19-year-old and I was searching for the true meaning of God. I didn't get it in a church. I didn't get it properly from some of my family members. So I was invited out to a study group meeting by a brother named Corey Muhammad, who lives in Alabama right now. And when I came to that study group meeting, I was very impressed. Um, I was welcomed with open arms, very loving. The brothers and sisters were very loving and understanding. And I'm like, this is home to me. And so uh, that's how I got introduced to the Nation of Islam. I became registered in 1997. Um, and I got married in 1998. um, that story ties into how I got married. It is very, very funny, but loving at the same time. And I went to my first Savior's Day and got my Muhammad. So I didn't really have my ex that long. But that first Savior's Day when the minister was just dropping bombs in 1998, oh my God. Oh my God. And then he called out the Muhammads, and I was like stunned, and I started crying. So yeah, that's how I came into the Nation of Islam, and I've been in the Nation of Islam ever since.
You mentioned and you said that is funny. So I gotta ask the question. So tell us the
Mhm.
humorous story about how you got married. This is your
Oh my
testimony.
goodness. So when I first came into the study group, my husband told me this after we were recording. He said when I walked in, he said, "Who is this sister? And I hope she stays around." And so that's how I got married. I was like, oh my God. I said, sir, and after the fact, after he told me that, I said, you wasn't supposed to be looking, sir. So you kind of in violation of the courtship process, sir. So, but we've been married for, wow, almost, oh my God, almost 27 years. We have four beautiful children. Our oldest is in college. And so I'm grateful that God sent me someone in the form of a well-made man. So I'm grateful for that.
Praise be to Allah. But thank you. And I'm glad we've given you the opportunity to share that humorous story on here, but I have a testimony, right?
Yes, sir.
And since we're talking about you joining the Nation of Islam and being
Hmm.
inspired by the teachings in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, what
Hmm.
advice would you give to others who may see you on social media and may be inspired by the percentage with yourself and the collective brings on Twitter? And even I know that you all were doing stuff on Clubhouse. I
Hmm.
haven't been on Clubhouse in a while, but they may be inspired and want to learn more about the teachings in the Nation of Islam, but may feel that it's too difficult for them to become a member and accept. What advice would you give them from your personal experience?
That's a great question. I would say, all of us went through that process of finding the teachings, and we found it difficult to join, be it because our family members told us not to join, friends telling us they're going to make you stop eating pork. But I would say to them, don't be scared, because every step of the way, Allah is going to guide you, and we'll be there as the collective and as brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam to guide you through that process. When we post on social media, we post uplifting posts, not because it's for ourselves, because it's for the people to gravitate toward the Nation of Islam and learn all about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. A lot of people say Farrakhan did this, Farrakhan did that. And that's the one reason why we post on social media, to let people know that, Minister Farrakhan is a voice to the voiceless. He's a father to those who don't have fathers. So if they gravitate towards the Nation of Islam, not only are they getting a family, but they're getting a brother and sisterhood that is going to love on them and be respectful towards them and guide them in a proper way. So I would tell them that we post on social media not just for ourselves, to help guide them to the truth, because by nature they are Muslims.
Beautiful, beautiful. And since we're talking about social media, and you know, as some people may try to downplay the reality of social media and the
Mhm.
presence and the power of it, it is something to be reckoned with. And
Mhm.
is where many people are in America and all over the world. So
Mhm.
what led you to become so active, especially on Twitter, in promoting and defending the teachings of the Mozambique Elijah Muhammad on Twitter? As we now see it, they call it X.
X. Well, I think Elon Musk must know about the teachings, because he put the X on there, and we know that X is unknown. So, oh my goodness, what guided me to the Twitter was Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We know the minister has been working tirelessly for years, but he has little ministers, he has soldiers. So he doesn't mean he has to come to social media to battle people. He has us as little ministers, he has us as soldiers to battle that. So when the minister got on Twitter, I immediately went into action and was like, okay, the minister's on Twitter, so we're going to defend. We have the Farrakhan Twitter army. I remember Sister Ebony had us answering questions as sisters on social media, so that sisters can gravitate towards the answers that we had about modesty and femininity. So the minister is the key guy for us to be on social media. He's the key guy that's guiding us to tell the people that all of us are soldiers, and that we just have to fall in line and be those proper soldiers. So that's why I'm on social media, because of the minister. I'm going to defend him hand and nail. I'm going to defend them to the fullest until I am relieved of my post.
Beautiful, beautiful. And that you made a very great point. It's like the minister doesn't have to be everywhere. And sometimes
Hmm.
people, and the minister understands and sees the value that there are believers who are out talking about the teachings, uh,
Hmm.
sharing the teachings, that's also helping to extend his reach into future generations and current generations as
Mhm.
well. And I'm glad that that you recognize that, because sometimes in an effort to appear like we're bigging up the minister, some of us
Mhm.
like to downplay ourselves. And that's
Right.
not and that ain't the minister's spirit. The minister
Mhm.
wants to see us with a healthy view of ourselves, but also
Mhm.
understanding. And I always mention this to the believers, like when Jesus says in the Quran, who are my helpers in the cause of
Mhm.
Islam, in the cause of Allah? Like, if my hands don't know that they're meant to carry out the thoughts that come out of my brain, then they won't do
Mhm.
anything. And sometimes we do that, and we don't realize, like, we're kind of diminishing ourselves. But we are here, and we've been called to help God's servant, right? And so, since we're
Exactly.
talking about that, and you said your defense of him, what would you say have been some? This is like kind of like a two-part question. What would you say
Mhm.
have been some of your greatest challenges that you face online, and what have been some of your most memorable moments promoting the
Oh my
teachings of
goodness.
Louis Farrakhan?
So my biggest challenge is when I went viral on one of the minister's votes.
Mhm,
The back and forth with people, I immediately shut down. That was my biggest challenge. But
mhm,
what helped me with that, student minister Willie, is a collective.
mhm,
Man, you got the strategist, Brother Evan, who is always there uplifting the sisters and the brothers. You have Brother Alfonso, who is one of the top leads in the collective, who helps us immensely. You have
mhm,
Brother Cam, who is student minister, always bringing fire and bringing truth. You got Brother Ben, who he's a coach and he pushes us in the right direction.
mhm,
You have Brother Munakai, who is a Reiki healer, that
mhm,
helps us and guides us through trouble moments that we have. You have
mhm,
Sister Desiree, who is a fireball. Oh my God. If you know Desiree, she is so loving and caring, but she is a fireball for truth. You
mhm,
have Sister Mecca, who's using her music to uplift others. You have Sister Alexia, who just pulls us all together. You have Sister Konisa. Not only is she the How to Eat to Live girl, but she is a mastermind in pulling our sisters together. So the
mhm,
collective has helped me immensely become a better person and a better student and a better guide on how to defend the minister in a proper light. So I'm grateful. If it wasn't for I call them my family, and I'm going to cry because
it's the love.
they are amazing. And
Mhm,
if you get to know each and every one of them and their personalities and how they carry themselves,
mhm,
I call them angels because they always come to the minister's defense. And
mhm.
so I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Praise, praise be to Allah. Now as you see, I see it is definitely a collective. So I know I've had the opportunity to interview Brother Ben, now you,
Hmm.
and Brother Cam and Brother Malcolm. And I'm gonna have to see if we can figure something out, because I want to do something, highlighting those who are out there in this new in this new frontier. So inshallah, when you get the opportunity, send me their names as well, and I can see where we can begin to
Yes, sir.
start doing something to get everybody on. And I think your response
Absolutely.
really shows that your appreciation for them and your
Hmm.
love for them.
Hmm.
And so I would ask you this question, based
Hmm.
upon your experience and observation on Twitter, I keep saying Twitter, but now
Hmm.
X, what would you say
Hmm.
have been some of the top misunderstandings people have about the Nation of Islam, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Muslim women? What's some of the
Hmm.
misunderstandings that you see that people have about us?
So I would say, I'm really firm on femininity and modesty. And so the minister, yes, the minister talks heavily about the sisters. He has lectures like the divine value of the female, the sacredness of the female. And so some sisters' misconceptions, I'm gonna speak to the sisters part first, is that, our men make us wear our garments and we are oppressed. But if you
Mm,
know the meaning behind the headpiece, it's a covering for us. You know, it's the headpiece has been around since, you know, mothers of the church. It says in the
Mm,
Bible that that you must cover, right? So it
mm,
does not just extend to the Nation of Islam; it extends to the church as well. And I think we have gotten far removed from that because it's a covering for all of us. And I'd rather be covered than be out here unwrapped. It's like a sucker. What is the ant's going to gravitate towards? If you cover, the ants are going to gravitate towards the sucker that's uncovered. It's got a whole bunch of ants. But I think that's what the sisters' misconception is that we are oppressed as women. I tell them all the time, I love to be covered because I'm covered not just for myself, but for Allah. Allah desires for us to be covered. But for the men in the Nation of Islam, they think that the men are just, you know, oppressing their wives and that we can't go anywhere. But no, the FOY are like the backbone of our nation. They guard us, they protect us, they make sure we get home at night. And so that's the misconceptions that people have on the internet. Now about the minister, you know, with the rumors about him and Malcolm and things of that nature. But we had to refute that. We got to defeat that. And so when they come to know that the minister did nothing to Malcolm but love and care and respect him, they were brothers. Then they have a better understanding of what happened. But you know, it's hearsay. They get it from people, and instead of coming to us and getting the truth. And so when I talk to brothers and sisters on Twitter about the Nation of Islam and the minister and us, they feel more better. I even invite them to collective in our app because the collective has an app.
mm.
And so I play lectures in the app and on social media as well. And they end up asking questions. And we have brothers and sisters that join after they come into our Twitter spaces or on our app as well.
Praise be to Allah. So since we're talking about collective, I love the way the interview is flowing because that's actually one of my next questions. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I guess you kind of talked about it just now about what kind of led you all to start doing the you know with the hosting as a collective in the discussions.
Mm-hmm.
So you also talked about how
Mm-hmm.
how other people had how
Mm-hmm.
other people have actually joined. So I would ask you this, going forward, what are some of the other, I guess, things that you all as a group of believers want to
Mm-hmm.
accomplish with the collective?
That is a great question. Well, we're taught in the Nation of Islam to go after our people. And so that's exactly what we're doing with the collective. Um, I'll speak about Brother Ben and Sister Mecca and all the rest of them. We actually strategize. Brother, you know what? Brother Evan is the strategist. So he comes with ideas. We all come with ideas of how we can better the collective, but we also talk about how we can go after our people. We strategize and we come with plans to go after our people because that's what the minister wants. We don't want any blood on our hands. So um, we come together, strategize, and say we're going to do this. This is a great idea for our people to come to the mosque. Um, we go on social media. We ask people to come and have interviews with us. So that's what the collective does. We collectively come together and we go after our people because that's what we want. We don't, we don't do, things to be seen of men like the Quran says. We do things for the upliftment of our people. And also we follow the instructions of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, which is to go after our people. We don't want to sit on this truth, right? So we have the mosque, but some of us like to sit on truth. We don't like to share, but the collective, we're not like that. When we learn, we pass it on to our people.
Mm. And it's interesting because and and it's showing how relevant the method that you all are using is, because I don't want to date myself. When I first came into the nation, you had
Mm-hmm.
to wait till somebody got a VHS tape before you heard, or you were able
Hmm.
to go to the city,
That's
and
true.
if somebody, you had to wait till they finished the VHS tape. But now people can literally have aspect to the teachings without even coming to an
That's
actual
mm-hmm.
mosque, right? And I think that that is something that we have to begin to start making recalibrating our minds to understand. One time
Yes,
I
sir.
had the opportunity to be a part of this hip hop album that was put together by, it's called, interesting, it's called Supreme Beings.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had the opportunity to go there, after they interviewed me first, and then they put it all together in the mixing with the music. When
Mm-hmm.
I had the opportunity to meet the artists, all of them knew about the minister and they had never been to the mosque.
Oh, wow.
And when I asked them, how did you all know? And they all said the internet, right? So
Mm-hmm.
ask you all
Mm-hmm.
this in regard ask you this. What advice would you give to a mosque leadership, mosque study group,
Mm-hmm.
in regards to how to use social media to aid the mosque or the study group in its effort to propagate the faith?
Ooh, this is honestly, I think you're tapped in with us though, because we just talked about this. I would ask them to actually, when they're giving a lecture, have a link to social media to those who can't make it out. Have a link to where they can tap into Twitter Space and listen, or tap into a clubhouse and listen as well, because that's what we do. We have to get back to that, but that is, idea that they can use, because sometimes people are sick, they're not able to come out to the mosque. You got the elderly that's not able to come out to the mosque. You got young people who are sick, and so that is the two, and that's why the minister has us using social media. They have to, I would say, they had to expand and use either a Twitter link or a Clubhouse link or YouTube. I would say every Sunday, Wednesday, or Friday. That's how you get the people. That's how you get the people. Those who cannot come out, I would advise them to, use Twitter, use Clubhouse, use different avenues to get to our people. And then they'll find that they'll be more prone to come to the mosque if they hear it like that.
Praise be to Allah, definitely. And I'll put this out to you and even to the collective. If
Hmm.
there any ideas that you all have that you think that can help a mosque and help a study group on social media, please
Hmm.
hit me up and share it with me. I'm big on ideas. I'm big on
Yes, sir.
using it in whatever you all have. And it just came to me. The collective is on. Your emotional
Hmm.
support is on. So I'm gonna
Yes,
end
they
up
are.
bringing. I'm gonna end up bringing them on.
Hmm.
We're gonna work it out. We're gonna work it out. But I want to get you these
I
questions,
would
and then we'll
appreciate it.
ask.
Yes.
You appreciate it. You
Hmm.
shy. You're doing very well.
I
You're
am.
doing
I'm
very
actually
well.
an introvert, so I'm like stepping in an extrovert mode right now
No,
to answer
no.
these
Okay, let
questions.
me
But
bring up
praise be for
my brother. How do you pronounce his name again?
Brother
Munikai.
Manikai. Manikai.
Munikai.
Manikai. Manikai.
Mm-hmm.
Manikai.
You like
Yes, sir.
you overseas somewhere right now, right? Let me take
Yes,
myself.
sir. I
Uh,
am in Japan, and I have been in Japan since 1998. I am known on I'm known on Instagram as the brother in the East because I am that brother in the East, and I want to know and hear from you at once. And I just want to say thank you, Allah, and most honorable Elijah Muhammad and the honorable Louis Farrakhan for this sister right here, Sister Tamorah. This sister keeps, she is more than an MGT. She is, and now this is just I'm giving my personal opinions. You can agree or disagree, but this sister is is a model of what an MGT is supposed to be. She helps keep
Allah.
us glued together. She's always asking us, did you do prayer today? Have you made prayer? She's putting the Quranic verses, and she does it. The thing about Sister Tamora is that she does it with love. Love you can sincerely feel. And if you're not following this sister on Twitter, you are
Mhm.
missing out because you can feel every is full of love. She cares about us as a people, and she's always helping us as the brothers to stay in sharp FOI proper mode because she grew up around Black men who were a standard of Black masculinity, and she is not accepting anything less than us being our best. You want to see the second self of God? This sister right here. And I want to say I thank Allah for you, Sister T. We talk a lot in the app, but I really mean that, sister. You have been, besides my own mother in Phoenix, you're one of the only sisters who I get to talk to who helps bring that loving, righteous MGT energy that I need, because quite often
Right.
I am the only Black face I see quite often. And through you and the collective, you've helped me to stay connected to the task of helping to bring our people to the man of God. And I want to say thank you, sister.
Oh,
I
praises.
love you. I'm here for you. And you are here for our people. And that's what we love the most.
To Allah.
So let
So,
me
so
get
let me ask you this, since we're gonna
yes,
do this, and I want to get this, and we're gonna come back. I see if the others turn their cameras on, we'll bring them on. So we're gonna do this. I want you briefly, if you can talk about how you came into the Nation of Islam, and then what we're going to do, I'm going to pull myself from the camera, and then I'll bring our sister back on, and you on. And there's some other questions I want to ask both of you all. So briefly, first tell us, how did you come into the nation?
yes, sir. I am a third generation nation baby.
Mm.
My father is an FOI who was soldiering in the 60s, beef um in the 60s. My mother came into the nation, and my grandfather was a member of the Nation of Islam before them. So I've grown up in the nation. I attended the Nation of Islam, Muhammad University of Islam, prior to 75. And when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan started the rebuilding effort, in I was part of it as from Mosque 32 in Phoenix, Arizona, under Brother Jabril Muhammad. May Allah be pleased with him. So I have lived every minute of the rebuilding effort prior to 1984, when the situation with other communities jumped off. I have lived it every single day. So, yes, sir, that is, and I've been in the registered member of the Nation of Islam, and I came back to Islam in 1992 actively. Yes, sir. There's my brother, the strategist. Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, beloved.
Walaikum salam. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you just fine.
All
Brother
praise.
Willie will probably
Love.
take me off in a moment, but just give a quick introduction of yourself and how you came into the Nation of Islam. And so, yes, sir. I'm going to mute myself now.
Yes, sir. All praise Zeus Allah. My name is Brother Evan.
Brother Evan.
Yes.
So what I'm about to do is I'm gonna bring all three of you all on. You all may not be able to hear me, but I'll jump back on. Just share how you came to the Nation of Islam.
Yes, sir. I came through the Nation of Islam through the New Black Panther Party of Self-Defense. I joined in 2009, but I've always studied the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I've always was listening to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad through other means. But it was through the New Black Panther Party of Self-Defense and hearing Brother Khalid Muhammad that kind of awoken that fiery spirit inside of me. And I wanted to follow the man who Dr. Khalid was following. So I said, you know what, let me just go on this journey to see if I could find a mosque or study group so I could fall in line and be that strong male figure for my family and my community, like Dr. Khalid. But, with that fire and that zeal, I had to control that passion. And then from there, I became a student, a true student, in my opinion, striving to be a true student of the Louis Farrakhan.
Praise be to Allah. Now what we're gonna do, we'll do it in this order. We'll come back with our sister Tamorah. I'm pretty I'm pronouncing that right. Then we'll come with our brother from the east and come back to you, my brother Ivan. But here's the question I want you all to think about as we get ready. If you had the chance to stand before the world and testify about the power of the teachings of the Most High Elijah Muhammad on your life, what testimony would you give? So what I'm going to first do, I'm going to bring up our sister to answer that particular question. I'm going to repeat it again. If you had to stand before the world and testify about the power of the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad on your life, what testimony would you give? And we'll bring up our sister to have her answer that. Go ahead, sis.
Praise be to Allah. Oh my God. With these teachings, it continued my journey on femininity and modesty. I think that I would go on record to say that I think if these teachers wasn't available to us, then all of us would be dead, because we wouldn't be living properly. So these teachings have actually saved my life.
Mm,
And when I say that wholeheartedly. The way that our classes are set up, the way that we walk, our mannerisms, the way that we talk to our people, there's nothing like the Nation of Islam. Nothing like the Nation of Islam. So I would tell our people to gravitate towards us, because after all else has failed, there is Islam. And we're gonna love on you. We're gonna nurture you into these teachings. We're not gonna leave you alone. Because in the church, you go and ask questions. Well, don't question God. Well, why not?
mm,
Why not? You want to know an answer, and you know that God is going to answer.
mm,
So, or He will guide you through the Quran on what you're supposed to know. So,
mm,
I would tell people that after all else failed, you got to stop being like Jonah and stop running. Stop
mm,
running. Come straight to the Nation of Islam.
mm,
Come straight to the Nation of Islam
mm.
and just come home. Stop sitting on that fence. Stop,
Beautiful.
going to the door and then turning away. No, just walk through it. We're gonna grab you and we're gonna hug you. So that is what the Nation of Islam has done for me.
Thank you, sister. And now we're going to come up with our brother from the East. How would you respond to that question? You just heard our sister respond to it. What would you say?
The teachings of the Nation of Islam saved my life, literally.
Mm,
And the short answer, teachings of the Nation of Islam saved my life, literally. And what I have learned from the teachings of the Nation of Islam has allowed me to help save the lives of other people, black, brown, red, yellow, and Caucasian, literally.
mm,
And then the long answer is there was a time in my life I did not wish to be alive.
mm,
And at that time of my pain, I heard the tape, The Problem of Relationships, by
mm,
the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And that was what I was going through. And I nursed on that. And then I nursed on the teachings of, and then my mother brought me back to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And it nursed me back to mental health
mm.
and spiritual health. And from there, Allah sent me to Tucson, Arizona, where there was no mosque and no people. So I had to continue to nurse and nurture that. And then when I was getting my strength and faith, then he sent me to a whole nother country where there are hardly any people who I can even see that look like me, and where nobody has ever heard of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. Yet, by studying these teachings, I have been blessed by Allah to communicate with people from all walks of life. And now many people come to your brother seeking counsel. And I can only give the credit back to Allah and the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because that is what I give them, but I don't always give it to them I give them milk and let them grow spiritually, mentally. Then I give them more and more and tell them you can get more over here. Teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. That is what I have been giving you, sir or ma'am, that has helped you to come back from the state of darkness you've been in. And many people then say, well, let me check it out. And that is what I would say, how would be my answer to your question, beloved sir.
Thank you, my brother. And now we'll go to the strategist, as you all refer to him as. And I see others are on, but I don't see their camera. So what would be your response to that, my brother? What testimony you will give in regards to the teaching changing your life?
Brother, student minister Willie, that question, man, is I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for these teachings. And in particular, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, like, he has, and just in general, like his love for his father, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, has made me into a warrior of love. Because just like my brother just said before me, Brother Munakai, I too was in a realm of self-hatred. And I too was in a realm of, low self-esteem. And it was through these teachings that taught me how to love not just myself, but love my community, love my family, and love my people. And now love people who are not of my own race, but love those who are, are of the Black nation in general. And I never thought that I would be, it's through these teachings, man, that I could say that I have a true family. It is not just skin color; it's the spirit. And I remember the Honorable Minister was Farrakhan saying something. I think it was Savior's Day, 1997. What is Islam? But he said, paraphrasing, that family ain't blood. Family is spirit. He said, you may be of my physical loins, but not be of me. So it's because of that, like we see that example with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He is the son of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Not of the blood, but definitely through the spirit. So for me, it's the same factor. I see my family as not just family who I grew up with or family who know me since I was a child, but family in the spirit. Like my comrades and my brothers and sisters in the collective, we've grown close, extremely close over the past year, and we're growing even closer. But it's through these teachings that we all found a common link. And I can say the same for those who aren't on this call or those who aren't in the collective, my comrades and brothers and sisters in the ranks. I can say the same thing for them. Like, we are closer, so, but it's through this brotherhood and this sisterhood, this ummah, this community of believers that, only something like this could be found here in the Nation of Islam. And one more thing, I remember the Honorable Minister was Farrakhan also saying it was Savior's Day, 1990, I believe. No, 1991. One of those two, but it wasn't in Christ Universal Temple lecture. But he was saying, when you hear the Holy Quran in the Bible, in the Torah, being taught under one roof, and you see Muslims, Christians, Hebrews, different denominations, different people from different backgrounds, different cultures under one roof, hearing and learning the teachings of Islam, he said that's when you know that the Holy Quran is being taught correctly. So, it's just through that, I would like to say that, I am forever thankful for what these teachers have done for me, and forever thankful for how I began to grow into a Muslim and a student under these teachings.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you for that response. I know StreamYard only allows a certain amount of people to be brought on camera at the same time. I don't know that number, but I see some other people are in, but I don't see their camera. So I will bring them on one at a time. But let me go to this next question, and I'll go to this next question to our sister. So it's kind of like the same question, but it's different. And the reason why I asked this question is, if you ever had the opportunity to be around the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan when he is not on the stage, he is, to me, even as principled and as loving, as courageous and as wise and charitable as he manifests as coming across the rostrum, he's 10,000 times that, even in the public, in a private, right? When you're in away from the rostrum. So I always try to ask this question so that others can get an idea that we're just not making this up. Because when you have numerous people testifying about your qualities, and I'll just give you this example. I've talked to several people on this show, and they all have said, not having them together at the same time, that Minister Farrakhan is not the type of person to throw in your face your shortcomings of the past.
Right.
And the brother told me that the minister told him he doesn't even like it when we bring up our shortcomings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, brother
Mm-hmm.
minister, remember that time I did this? He doesn't even like to hear that, because the minister said that Master Muhammad didn't come to condemn us. He came to save us. So I say that to
Right.
say, if you had the ability to get people to clearly understand one thing about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, what would that one thing be and why?
Oh my God. I would say that the minister is understanding.
Mm,
Um, the minister said in a lecture, he said, I meet a man where he's at. That means he's not judgmental. And I found, and I'll share this, I found myself in situations where I've judged people. And you never judge a thing in transition. Yeah, the
mm,
minister will scold you, but he'll come back and give you some loving grace and say you have the ability to change. I remember on his birthday, he said, I want you all to clean yourself up. He said, I want you to start over
mm,
and be what Allah wants you to be, right? And so I would say the minister will feed you and he will scold you, but at the same time, he will come back and give you that love that you need. He's like I said, he's like a father to us. A father, like I love you and I love you enough to tell you that you heading down a path that you should not go down. So he'll
mm,
love us. Um, he'll love us, but he'll scold us, but he'll love us at the same time. So I would say, don't judge a thing in transition. Be patient with our people. Be patient with yourselves. Because there's been times where I just like, okay, Allah, I don't know what you want me to do in this moment. But he'll bring it back and say, you know exactly, what you need me to do. Stop stalling. And I'm glad that the collectives, brothers and sisters, they hound me. And like, you got a testimony to share. Um, but again, I mean, the minister is so wise and so graceful, and we have to be like that with our people.
mm. Beautiful. There's just something a brother sent me, uh, some words by Brother Jabril Muhammad talking about fishing. And one of the
Mm-hmm.
things that he continued to stress was that if we don't love our people, then we're not going to go out after them. So
Right.
thank you. And that is
Mm-hmm.
definitely the love of the minister. So now we're going to go. We heard from our sister. The collective is collectiving, if that's a
Yes,
thing.
and I want to shout out my little brother
Go ahead.
Montreal. I don't. I want to know him. I want to let him know that I didn't forget about you. I love you, little big brother. I do. Montreal is one of the babies of the group, but he's a fireball.
Okay.
He is a fireball for truth. Oh my God, he is. He's a little meek though, but
Mhm.
he's a fireball. He
Praise
is a fireball for truth, and I believe as he gets older, he'll be a magnificent student minister.
Praise.
I really do. So,
Thank you. Salute to
mhm.
Brother Montreal. Now we're going to go to our brother in the East, and we'll ask you that same question. If you had the ability to get people to understand one thing about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, what would that one thing be and why?
The proof thing about the Honorable Minister of the Sparkling have to understand is look at the results of what he's doing.
Mm,
Step back from everything you've heard and look at the results.
mm,
Look at a person who used to be pick, drinking, smoking, yo, what's up, dog? And now the man is the orifice is clean. Hello, sir. How are you? Good afternoon. You can't do that. And the only thing you did was talk to him, and that touched them and made them change. Only love, divine love, can make that happen.
mm,
Especially under people who have been called the permanent underclass.
mm,
So it's not about when you talk about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. What I would say is, you really want to understand him. Look at the results of his work.
mm,
Put aside everything that you heard. Look at the results of the work, and then ask yourself, how is that possible? If he's the way that he's portrayed in the public media, then how can he be doing this work If he's so negative, how can he be doing such positive? Because here we are. We are the results of his work. If you love me, as I get a lot of love, then you gotta love the man who made me. So the thing you want to understand the Honorable Louis Farrakhan? Look at his results, look at us, and then know that there's more where that came from, and it's available to you.
Beautiful, beautiful. And everybody's talking about that love, and thank you. So now we're going to go to our next brother, the strategist. Everybody refers to you as that. You know, what would you like to get everybody if they could clearly see this thing about the minister?
You know, there's an old Christian song I used to hear a lot, and it goes, "I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody." And you know, I would say, you know, the minister can save, you know, like anybody. Not just from, you know, something that's plaguing them, like a specific trial that's a physical trial, but he can save you from yourself. You know, someone might say, well, I'm fine, but no, we're not. And we're not fine. And that's been the issue for this whole time. We're not fine. We like to believe we are because we have bought into a world that is going down. And we would like to think that, you know, by making money and doing the carnal things that we don't need redeeming. But the minister is a redeemer, regardless if we like it or not. And that's just the plain truth. He's a redeemer. So I would like for our people and just people in general to understand you can't put him on the same level that you would do your average quote unquote leader. He's more than just a political figure. He's more than just a spiritual figure. When it comes to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we have to put him in the proper community, which is the community of the prophets and messengers of Allah God himself. And when we have that understanding, I really believe that's what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I believe, said, that when we learn the truth of Jesus, we will be free overnight. I really believe when we learn the truth of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and his messianic presence and his messianic message and his messianic mission, we will be free instantly. So I'll leave it at that.
Beautiful. Well, you just sparked another question as we closing in a few, but I want to ask you all this. And here's the question. What has the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan help you to see about your own value? Right? What has the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, his teaching and his sacrifice in his life, help each of you to see about your own individual value? So I'm gonna bring all of you all on, and I'm gonna remove myself, and we'll start with our sister, then brother from the east, and then brother the strategist, as I call him too.
Yes, sir. So I'm like,
You froze up. Can you hear me, sis? Back on. Sis, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is she on mute? She's not on mute. We can't hear her. We had to come back. She's talking too. We're gonna come back. Let her know we're gonna come back. Go ahead, brother from the east. Answer that.
Could you please ask the question again, please, beloved?
What has the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, how has he helped? How has he helped you to see your own value?
Because he says it from the rostrum, and many of us think of it as a cliche. If Allah came all this way, he found the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, he made the right choice. And then the two of them together chose the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Yeah, made the right choice. But then do we think that Allah suddenly is fumbling and guessing about each one of us? He's made me to realize that I and all of us are the desire of the God himself, and every one of us in our person, in me too, that the supreme being is personally in love with every one of us, and me, and that includes me too. And that's why my shortcomings, he see them, he's there. But like the moon, he gave the example of the moon with the dark side. The moon has a light side and has a dark side. We only see the light side. Allah's not worried about the dark side because he's using the light side. So yeah, we all got our shortcomings, but that's why the ministers taught me that, go to prayer, confess your faults to Allah, because he was all he knows. But he loves us so much, he looks beyond our faults, sees our needs, and he's always reaching for the beautiful part of me. And so why shouldn't I reach for the beautiful part of myself too? Beautiful. So I have to be more loving and forgiving of myself, because the God that's what he's taught me. The God loves me just as much as he loved the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And so walk with humble, but with stand tall, bro. Smile. You are beloved, just like they are. That's what he's taught me.
Thank you. We're going to go with Brother Evan, then we'll come back with our sister. She has some technical difficulties. Then we have the Haveka.
Heck of a Mecca.
Heck of a Mecca. Heck of a Mecca.
Yes, sir. She's here too.
We're going to go to Brother Evan. Thank you, my brother. So, Brother Evan, what of value has the Honorable Minister? How has the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan help you to see your own value?
He has got me to see my own value in so many different ways, so many different factors. But the main factor, I would say that he has gotten me to see that, it's now is not the time to be weak. And now is not the time to walk in fear. And for so long, I used to be not fearful or anything like that, but I definitely was not comfortable in my own skin. And I was afraid of what people would think of me, what people would say about me. And because I really held weight to their perspective. But listening to the minister teach, boldly and fearlessly, and, even if he has to stand alone, in the midst of his enemies, it's just like, how can I even, make an excuse of being afraid of what people may say about me or think about me anymore, and then that just has a domino effect, because next thing I know, I don't care what anybody say about me at all, period. If I stand on truth and if I stand on justice, then it doesn't really matter what nobody say, let alone the enemy. And that's a major factor, because we have been taught for so long to be afraid of these people. And we have been taught for so long to be afraid of, what they can do to you if you don't do what they want you to do, or if you don't buy into their agenda. And he's the one who says no more, and he got me to see that about myself. And I can say boldly to those who I know, mean wrong or mean harm to people who I love, people who I care about, or to myself, I can say to them fearlessly, no more, and walk with my head hung high and don't give a skip what anybody got to say about it. So that's it. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Now we're going to go back to our sister. And you were teaching hard, sis, but we just couldn't hear you. So I'll repeat the question. How has the honorable how and what has the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan how has he helped how has he helped you to see the value in yourself?
Right. So, in the Quran, Surah 19, it talks about Maryam. And so, man, when I came into the Nation of Islam, um, it furthered my cause on femininity and modesty. And so we see these women out in society, not valuing themselves, not knowing the true meaning of modesty and femininity. And so by having MGT class and having the minister speak on that, it allowed me to value myself more. Not only just that, but it allowed me to teach women on the importance of modesty, on the importance of femininity, and on the importance of loving yourself and how to take care of yourself, because you can't properly love anybody if you don't love yourself. So what has the minister done for me? He's opened my eyes to truth. He's opened my eyes to know that the second self is important to this world, and we shouldn't be so giving ourselves to any and every man. He's opened my eyes to being a better mother and a better wife. So when I see these women devaluing themselves and loving themselves less, I have to remind them of who they are, and it's through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that I can do that.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you, sister, and thank each and every one of you all for what you all have shared. And now we have one of the other members of the collective. This is a microphone controller, lyricist, right? One of the great lyricists in our nation, and we're gonna bring her on. Her wait. Her, help me out, help me out.
Heck of a.
Heck of a, like one heck of a Mecca,
Yes, sir.
right? Got it. Assalamu alaikum, sis.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you for allowing me time to.
Oh, listen, thank you all. Y'all are collective, and I got I thought I was interviewing one, but it all worked out, and Allah's the best knower. So I want to ask you this question before I ask you the same that I asked them, because I'm interested in hearing, how did you come into the nation?
Um, my mother was actually in the Nation. Um, she joined when I was like in the 6th grade.
Wow.
And so I did start, going to the mosque. But the way that she reeled me in, though, was by having a tape of the minister playing the violin, because I also play instruments. And so that's how she reeled me in. And I'm like, oh, well, he's not too different from me, And so I began to pay more attention. I was obviously still a child and, was still doing what children do. But as I got older, I began to see the teachings manifest. And it was just like this. I think that this is the right course for me. So when I was 19, I decided to officially become a registered member of the Nation of Islam.
Praise be to Allah. I know that story is more extensive, but we have this short time, but I appreciate it. We're going to, inshallah, have more of you all back on. And my other question, as I asked them, how has, and let me tell you all why I'm sharing this. We had the opportunity, myself and a few others prior to 10-10-15, leading up to it. We flew to Los Angeles, where the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was, and we were working to put together some aspects of the action items, and one of them was conflict resolution. And so my captain and I, we went in after we finished meeting with the Supreme and others. It was time for dinner, and the minister would normally meet with the ministers, but the captains wanted Brother Captain Dennis, our captain, Brother Student Captain Jason, Brother Don Enoch asked the minister, could they at least come in and give him the greetings? And the minister said, of course. So when Brother Dennis came in, he gave the minister a greeting, they exchanged words. Then when our student captain came in, he gave them Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan the greetings, and the minister said, "Brother, how are you?" He said, "I'm fine now that I've had the chance to see and meet you." And the minister said, "No." He said, "I'm honored." Something to that degree. But the minister came back and told him, "No, brother, the honor is truly mine." And he said, "Because I'm when I meet you, I'm meeting God, right?" And he said, he turned around and he looked at everybody. He said, he said, oftentimes when I say that, people think I'm just pulling their leg. I'm paraphrasing. Anything I'm just saying that. He said, "No." He said, "I am honored to meet you." He said, "I may not know you personally, but I know God is in you." And he said, "Now, how you take that, and if we go away saying, 'Oh, he just pulling my leg, the minister don't mean that, I'm not valuable,' then that's on us." But he says when he says it, he truly means it. And that's why I asked this question, because what the minister also tries to get us to do is see our own value. And personally, I think that, and you go back and what was the lecture? The Swan Song. Remember, he said that he was a rebellious student in the class of the Mozambique Elijah Muhammad. And he said, well, he was rebellious in the sense that he believed everything that came out of the Mozambique Elijah Muhammad's mouth, except what the Mozambique Elijah Muhammad said about him that was positive. Mm. Right. So that's why I'm asking you all this question. Like, what of value has the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan helped you to see in yourself?
Yes, sir. Beautiful, which actually is part of my reason, or what the minister has shown me about myself, is that my creation is not a mistake. It's not on accident. Allah was very intentional when he brought me into this world. So I'm here for a reason. I have a purpose, and that I'm not less than anybody. I was made equal to all, and that I am a God. I have the ability to envision something and bring it into reality. I am a reflection of God. I am an expression of God. And it's through, even though, like the Quran says, we created you perfect, but imperfect. So my make is perfect, but I have to perfect my thinking in order for me to really reflect that attribute of God. And he's shown me that when you find something that you don't like about yourself, that it doesn't make you a bad person, because everybody has these things within us that are trials that we have to overcome, that we have to learn about ourselves, extract the toxin, so that then we can become a better person. So he's taught me the value of just my connection to God, and that God is in me and God is with me. And as long as I put him as the forefront of everything that I do, that I will always be successful.
Hey, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And thank you for sharing that. And what we're going to do now, 1 second. What we're going to do, I'll close out going through asking you all just to share anything that you wanted to share that you didn't get the opportunity to share. We ask that you be brief, and we'll go in this order. We'll start with Sister Tamorah, and then I hope I got the name right. I butcher people's name until I learn them more. Then we go to Brother from the East. Then we go to the strategist, Brother Evan. Then we go to Hekava Mecca. I hope I got it right that time. So just your closing words. So we'll bring up our sister. Any closing words, anything you want to share as we get ready to close? And thank you for accepting the interview. And also, you've made it possible that we able to get the collective.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. So I just want to say thank you, Brother Willie, for allowing me this opportunity to be interviewed by you. It's greatly appreciated. I also want to tell those who are interested in the collective, we have an app. We're also on all social media platforms. So connect with us, get to know us. Invite us to your city so that we can have, dialogue with you. That's what the collective is about. We're about sharing the teachings of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So, and I also want to say this to those who are on the fence about joining the Nation of Islam: don't be. Just take that big step. take 2 steps towards us and we'll take 5 steps towards you. So we'll grab you. And so this teaching is important. It's not just for us, it's for you as well. So, take a step towards Allah. We're living in dark times that, you need to gravitate yourself towards Allah and to save yourself, not just yourself and your family. Once your family sees the light in you, then that's going to make them gravitate towards truth, and that is the Nation of Islam. So I just want to say that, and you can find me on all social media platforms under Modesty Queen 19.
Thank you, sister. May Allah continue to bless you.
I mean, I take that. Yes, sir. Praise
Yes,
be to
ma'am.
Allah.
And we'll go to our brother from the East.
It's the brother in the East. The brother in the East. Yes, sir.
But yeah, in the East.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say that, your brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam, we love you. And we do this we're not getting paid any money to do this. We come in with love in our heart to save our people. And so what we want to say is, be open to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the leadership of Minister Louis Farrakhan. Chances are, and sometimes you're going to hear some things that be like, yo, I heard Nation of Islam, y'all say this. I was taught that. Chances are, you just need to get more information and then to properly understand it, and you'll see, oh wow, brothers and sisters are onto something. We're not trying to, all we're trying to do is help you to be the best brother or sister that you are born to be. Whatever that is. You don't have to be afraid of us, because we love you. And we want what's best for you, because our teachers want what's best for us, because the God wants what's best for us. And so reach out to your brothers and sisters in the collective and the other brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam. And you can find me on Instagram. I am the brother in the East. That is my handle. And you can find me on Twitter as Manikai19. My name, as you see, Manikai, Muniqui 19. And on Facebook, I am Manikai Daoud Muhammad. But come and also join the Collective app and join the Follow Collective on all social media platforms. But it's a collective, not with an CO. It's CX. It's CX. Well, that collective.
Thank
So
you,
get the spelling right to find us. May Allah bless you. Thank you, brother, Mr. Willis.
And brother, bring our brother Evan. Closing words, and then we'll close out with our sister. Heck of a Mecca. I'm working on it, sister.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Brother Minister Willie, for the opportunity. I never would have thought in a long time, in a lifetime, really, I'll be on this platform with you, beloved. And I really admire the work that you're doing. But I would just like to say, really to the believers, per se, we are living in a very crucial hour, and we have to hold fast to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we have to be really prepared to withstand the wiles of Satan. So I would like to say that get with your brothers and sisters in the collective, because we make it our business 24/7 to really dive deep into the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and we study these teachings, but we also come with different ways that we can defend the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam against so many different enemies. There are so many people who live and breathe to see the destruction of the Nation of Islam and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and we know they won't win. But join us on our collective app. We build together, we communicate together, we fellowship together, but most importantly, we study together. We are students first, and we have a collective Telegram chat too, a general chat in which anybody can join and build with us. And we have so many different things going on, but we are really trying to build a standing army that is, rooted in truth, freedom, justice, and equality in these teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And, as students and as members of the Nation of Islam, we would love for our believing family to join us, and we can all, build together, study together, and wage war against Satan together in an intellectual manner, in a way in which it would strengthen our Islam and strengthen our foundation. So thank you, Brother Minister Willie.
Thank you, my brother. And may Allah continue to bless you as well. And the honor is truly mine, my brother. Get the opportunity to meet you as well. And we'll bring up our sister. Let me practice it. Heck of a Mecca. How did I do? I did well?
Yes, sir. That was
All right, got it. So what do you say?
Praise be to Allah. Once again, thank you, Brother Willie, for allowing me this time to speak. I appreciate it. Just really quick, I wanted to answer really quick the question you had asked previously before the last question you asked about the minister. And I would say that the minister has a pure love. He exemplifies pure love. And it's something that is not usually seen in this world. And it's hard for people to really be able to see his type of love. We have to elevate into the thinking of God in order to actually see the type of love that he has for us, because it's not normal in this world. We're always dealing with somebody who's trying to pull our shirt over our head, who's pulling our leg, who don't really mean what he say, but to actually have somebody in our midst who truly cares about our well-being, who truly cares about our life. It's not something that's normal. So I just wanted to say that about the minister. And again, as my brothers and sisters has said, to join us on all platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Clubhouse, at the Cxllective. Join the app, and we can't wait to hear from you.
Praise be to Allah. And my closing words to each and every one of you all, don't stop what you're doing. Don't put yourself and be allowed to be put in a box. Don't be afraid to try, right? And I mentioned this to the believers here. People talk about Peter not being able to walk on the water. And we know that's a symbolic story, but just think about this. One of the reasons why that scripture is still in the Bible is because at least Peter got off the boat and he tried something, right? We don't know who the other disciples were on the boats because they never tried. So I'm saying this to say, continue to think innovative, continue to think about ways to continue to bring the message of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the guidance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to our people. Because one of the things that the collective is doing is helping to make the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's word bond that he said when he first registered, and he cried in FOI class and he said, I'm going to take it to every nook and cranny. Well, this is helping them to do that, and you all are helping him to do that as well. So continue to keep pushing. Don't get tired. Continue to study, continue to grow, and use this platform, because for everybody that clicks on what something that you all have done and they never heard this before, what that does is you all are gaining even more favor. Listen to what I said, not gaining favor, even more favor with the Savior, Master Farah Muhammad and his Christ. So continue to keep doing it. I love the way that this came out. We'll have you all back on more. We'll do some other things as well. So may Allah continue to bless each and every one of you all. May Allah continue to bless you and your family.